Hey guys, this is a video I've been trying to make for about 2 months now, and just circumstances and life has prevented me from making it. But I've got a few extra minutes, so I'm going to try and knock this out as quickly as I can. I've got, I think it's 19 graphic novels and trade paperbacks and some other things that I found that were marked 75% off. They were already cheap to start with, so these 19, I'm pretty sure, and again, this has been a couple of months, it was right around 15 bucks that I got all these. So first one I got was Smallville Season 11. This is, of course, based on the TV series. Pretty cool artwork. The Batman in it is like the character Batman Beyond. Pretty good artwork. Story's not too bad. I mean, for what I paid for it, I didn't really lose anything. You got Batman Incorporated, Volume 2. This was a hardcover. Still in the shrink wrap. Anyway, I hadn't opened it up yet. Grant Morrison wrote the stories. The synopsis on the back sounds like a pretty cool story, so thought I'd pick it up. Also got Batman, Gordon of Gotham. I don't know what the heck that is, or how that got on there. Anyway, stupid price tag somehow got on there. Let me get this off. Anyway, Gordon of Gotham. It reprints a limited series from the, I think, late 90s, and also reprints, I think it's Gotham City PD, issues number 1 through 4. I mean, this is Chuck Dixon, Denny O'Neil, Klaus Janson, Jim Farrow, Bill Sienkiewicz, Dick Giordano. I mean, so the guys who worked on it are top notch. And the story's pretty good. I think Batman makes some cameo appearances in it, but he really doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. Alright, I got Showcase Presents Superman, Volume 3. This reprints a bunch of stories from Superman, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane from the late 50s, early 60s. Just really cool early Silver Age stuff. Picking up the individual issues would be pretty expensive, but this reprints almost 600 pages of early 60s goodness. This is Superman Family, Showcase Volume 4. Again, this reprints some old Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Superman stuff. I think I made a mistake on that last one. Anyway, the last one, the Superman volume, it reprints Superman and Action Comics. This is the one that's got the Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen stuff in it from the late 50s, early 60s. Again, really cool early Silver Age stuff, about what you'd expect from early 60s stories. Just a lot of fun stories to read. Picked up team-ups of Brave and the Bold. Straczynski wrote most of these stories. I think he wrote all of them. This is just a really cool book. It reprints some of these stories from the latest Brave and the Bold series, at least the latest one I've read. Great artwork, and stories are really cool. Plus, it was cheap. Picked up Jonah Hex, Counting Corpses. I'm not sure if this reprints some issues from the Jonah Hex series, this last Jonah Hex series that was canceled a couple years ago, or this is an independent story. Again, I haven't read it yet, but I've always liked Jonah Hex. this last series that they did of his was a little more violent, addressed a little more adult topics than the original series did. But it's anyway, it was worth reading. I hate it got canceled. Picked up The Dark Tower, Gunslinger Born, hardcover. I've got one or two other of these hardcover Dark Tower books from Marvel. The artwork is always really good. Having read the original Dark Tower series when it came out, I mean, they do the best they can with trying to adapt, the Stephen King novel. I mean, the artwork is really cool. I'd like to have seen this artwork used in the Dark Tower books. I know some of the later Dark Tower books, they had Walt Simonson, I believe it was. No, it was either Walt Simonson or Bernie Wrightson do the artwork, do some artwork in there. It was really, really cool. Alright, I picked this one up just, why not? This one was really cheap, 21 down, The Conduit by Jimmy Palmiotti. He was the writer. Don't know much about it. I read on the back. Sounds like kind of a hitman story, which I like those. So thought I'd pick it up. Picked up Legion of Superheroes, Volume 3, The Fatal Five. I've always liked the Legion, and I've always liked when they would go up against the Fatal Five. So this was a Paul Levitz written story, and I've always liked his stuff. So picked it up on the cheap. Yeah, Superman, The Power Within. Looking to see what it reprinted. This is some reprints of some Action Comics weekly stories from the mid-late 80s. It's got Kurt Swan, Murphy Anderson, John Beatty artwork, which, I mean, you can't beat that, especially the Kurt Swan, Murphy Anderson art. I think it's some stories that came out right after Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow that Alan Moore wrote, and the note on the back about what it's about is very intriguing. Basically, it's people start to worship Superman as God, and how that places expectations on him in trying to save everyone, which he can't, because he can't be in more places, more than one place at one time. Anyway, sounded like a really cool story. Got, speaking of Alan Moore, I got Alan Moore, Tomorrow Stories, Book 2. Many of you familiar with this series know that it's got some really cool characters, some all Alan Moore written stories from America's Best Comics. I've got a few random issues of this series here and there, and always enjoyed it. So when I found this, and I think that one was like 50 cents or so, thought I'd pick it up. I was really happy to find this, Spirit, Book 2. The Will Eisner character. This is the Darwin Cook stories. I've always enjoyed the Spirit, and this is a hardcover. I've always enjoyed the Spirit. The film noir, pulp hero type stories that Eisner presented in the 40s in the original newspaper series, and what DC did with it later on, or what Darwin Cook did with it later on. DC, Darwin Cook, anyway, was really cool in my opinion, and I greatly enjoyed it. So again, on the cheap, thought I'd pick it up. I was extremely happy to find this. Some people had shown where they had found some of these here and there, and this was the first one I had seen. Mad's Original Idiots, Jack Davis. And this is the complete collection of his work in Mad Comics from number 1 to number 23, which I think 24 was when it became a magazine. Anyway, I mean, Jack Davis, an old EC artist, you know, drew comic books for many, many, many years. Did a lot of the ads that you would see. Just great stuff. Really, really great stuff. Found this. Anyway, I think this one was less than 50 cents. It's based on the TV show that was on called Eureka. The concept on the back sounded really interesting. I never watched the show. It's let's see here. Apparently everybody in this town is like genius level, and they create this villain, and this villain or weapon, this ultimate weapon, and it escapes. So now all of these Big Bang Theory type guys have got to figure out how to recapture this monster that they created, who's like the ultimate killing machine. I mean, imagine Sheldon Cooper versus the Incredible Hulk. Just to give you an idea. Anyway, picked up Road to Perdition 2, On the Road. This is a graphic novel. I thought it was a novel, you know, but this is by Max Allan Collins with artwork by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. I always liked Garcia Lopez's work on the Batman series back in the 70s, and I mean, that's not all he's done. I mean, he's done lots and lots and lots of stuff, but I enjoyed the movie Road to Perdition, so thought I'd pick that up. And lastly, and my wife actually found this one, which, you know, lucky for me. This is Spider-Man: Kraven's Last Hunt. This is the novelization of that you know, tremendous story arc that came out by DeMatteis. It was drawn by Mike Zeck. This one was less than 50 cents. I mean, heck, this book when it came out was, heck, let me see how much this thing was. I mean, this was a $25 book, and I got it for less than 50 cents. Anyway, that's my haul. Hopefully in the next month or two, I'm going to be able to visit my local comic shop, pick up a few books. They're having a big sale this Saturday, but unfortunately, I have to go to my sister's little boy's birthday party. You know, I mean, if you had a choice, which would you rather do? Go to your local comic shop or go to a kid's birthday party with a bunch of screaming brats? Not that I'm saying my sister's kid is a brat. Far from it. He's a good kid when he's asleep. But anyway, so it won't be this weekend, but hopefully very soon I'll be able to go to my local comic shop and pick up a few things. Like, comment, and please subscribe. Thanks a lot. See you next time.